Hey there, everybody. It is time to talk about more Justin Verlander. Is he going to be ready for opening day? But is a plan B what we need to talk about? And is someone like Blake Snell a person that would be the perfect candidate to bring over to another title? Eric, hit that intro.
Buenos días, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Make sure you're going to subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and become an everyday or somebody listens to our podcast every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Opening days right around the corner. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Always Stros. You know, Eric, tonight I got to go hang out with the Houston Hat crew, and I got to pick up my Game 6. This game is turned upside down hat by Santiago on Instagram. And the reason why I got the explanation of this hat, I'm going to put a YouTube short on there. The reason why the navy and the white are flipped upside down is because usually they have white pants with the navy top, and the game got turned upside down. And there's a bunch of other explanations that he gets. So thank you guys for including me in that. But tonight we're going to talk about Justin Verlander. We're going to talk about what the plan B is, options at third base, some updates from the man himself, Dana Brown. Montero, is he going to have a rebound season? And does Snellzilla show up in H-Town?
Well, we're not saying he's going to come to Houston, but he's definitely open to a short-term deal with some opt-out clauses. So if you want to go play for someone, why don't you come play for a team that is favored to go to the World Series out of the American League, which is the Houston Astros. So I think that maybe if you can somehow convince him to play 1 or 2 years with Houston Astros, I think that would very much increase their chances. But we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit later. But Justin Verlander did throw his bullpen today. He did intensify his session a little bit, but and they're going to see how he feels. His delivery was consistent. He commanded his fastball and the changeup. He threw 50 pitches during the session. So they'll see how he feels after the next day, so on Thursday. And Josh Miller said, we need to see him throw some breaking balls. We'll see how he responds from there. And then, but Joe Espada did say that obviously we're kind of running out of days here. And so if you were going to have him ready for opening day, we got to get him out there. And but they're not ruling him out for opening day. But they're not saying, yeah, let's go ahead and put him in permanent marker. He's ready for opening day.
Right. And I mean, you obviously can't put the cart before the horse, but I think at this point, since you do have Framber Valdez, Eric, and he did come into camp looking probably in better shape than he's been in a few seasons, in a couple seasons, you might as well start getting him tuned up mentally, because that is the biggest downfall in his game, is the mental side of the game, Eric. And so I really think that, like, why not just go ahead and say, look, we're going to, and maybe they don't tell us this, and I'm pretty sure they have internal discussions. Why not say 5 days from now, if we don't feel like JV is ready, JV, we're just going to say Framber's the starter. And if it's just a week or two, we'll figure out the game that you come in, and hopefully we can debut you at home or against a key opponent. But we need to make sure you're right before we do that. And I don't think Justin Verlander wants to rush it, because if he gets 140 innings, doesn't he have a player option for the next season?
Well,
so
not necessarily a player option. It's guaranteed. So yeah.
Oh, wait. Well, I thought, but it's guaranteed if he gets 140, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Justin probably doesn't want to miss too much time, but he wants to be able to pitch as much as he can. So he can skirt that first week or two. I don't think he would be out a whole month. I just think they would push him back a week or two, to be honest with you. But
Yeah,
I guess
there's no
time.
reason to rush it, especially if you have some options. And so let's talk about those Plan B options. We kind of talked about one yesterday, Spencer Arrighetti. He is not on the 40-man roster, so you would have to make some type of roster moves. There are some people that will have to be placed on the 60-day IL, Lance McCullers,
Just
and
one.
then you have Luis Garcia. Then you also have the other, who am I thinking of? A pitcher. Gee, help me out. It's Kendall Graveman. So
There you
Kendall
go.
Graveman.
Kendall Graveman. Yeah, because honestly, for a second there, I had forgotten because I was trying to the three, and you were like, no, I wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't hanging you out to dry. I legitimately also forgot.
Right.
Like, okay, Eric, help me out. Help me help you. But
Right.
yeah, you got 360-day IL candidates. Why the heck not? Why don't you put them on now? I guess you don't want to have 3 holes, but think about it. If you could bring up Arrighetti, because Arrighetti, I think, has impressed, and you can sign someone like Snell. I mean, that right there. I mean, Jay Roberts is saying I'd opt for Montgomery over Snell. The problem is I think Montgomery is not, there's no indication that he's going to take a deal with what Snell's taken, and we'll get to the Snell thing later.
Well, they have the same agent, so that could he could be like, at this point, you want to work somewhere, don't you? And see what happens next year.
Yeah, I don't want a Greinke reunion. Sorry, I don't need to see a 48,000-year-old pitcher throwing 28 miles an hour.
Don't be rude.
I'm sorry. I'm done with the grunts and the antics. No, we need to be serious about winning a World Series. I do not think Greinke puts us in any more contention.
Okay, so back to the Plan B, since we went on a tangent there.
Well,
so Spencer Arrighetti, he put his best foot forward with his start the other day, and he looked pretty dominant, and he's been impressing a lot of people this camp. His next start is kind of up in the air. He's supposed to either piggyback with I believe with Christian Javier on Saturday, or pitch in the maybe the backfields, or pitch in a minor league game or something like that. But he will be pitching on Saturday, so he is an option to be on there, but you have to add him to the 40-man roster. Right. Also, Ronel Blanco, he had a good start the other day. He had 2 innings, and he needs to be stretched out. He was stretched out last year and came up, and I believe he had like at least 1 or 2 starts, and mostly he was used as a long reliever, and then I think they transitioned him into a short reliever, then back to long reliever. So he's kind of a flexible type of guy. So Ronel Blanco is a guy. Brandon Bielak is another guy. He's out of options. You're going to have to, if he's not on a major league roster, he's going to have to be DFA'd. So if he impresses the spring training, he's another option. So there are many internal candidates for that 5th starter if Justin Verlander does not make it. Yeah,
and what I like is that we do have options, but I think we need to make a decision. I think we could, like, if we bring in Snell, and I don't want to mention this until later. There was something else I was wanting to talk about, a player from the Astros possibly being traded, but I don't want to go down that road right now. I just think that, JP France, where does he fit in? Is he going to be bullpen? Is he going to be a starter? They've got plenty of arms to be starters, but Eric, I just can't wait to talk about the Snell thing more, because if he's willing to take a 1 year, if he's willing to take opt-outs and all that stuff, I mean, can you imagine him coming here and just winning another World Series for 1 year? I don't care if he goes somewhere else. Just help us win another one.
I'm pretty sure that Jim Crane would be totally open to giving him a massive 1-year deal. It's the long term that he's scared of. So it's a long-term deal that he's scared of. So I'm sure he would say, oh yeah, we'll take it. We'll give you whatever it takes. Come win a World Series with us. But yeah, we'll have to go and continue this conversation. But we don't want to talk about this, but I know Dana Brown addresses the Alex Bregman thing, but what are some options just in case somebody is not around come next year? But we don't want to, I know, but what are some options? Because these guys are getting ready at AAA. just in case. And you need to be getting ready to go to opening day. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, that's right. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is a great app. Download it today and use the code Locked On for $20 off. Look, I use Game Time. I love Game Time. I don't worry about buying tickets anymore. I don't even worry about planning. I literally go, put my phone off to the side. The day before the game, I'm like, let me check on tickets. Or like me, just walk up to the stadium as you're walking in, go to the game, select your seat. It's in here. Scan it. You're sitting down. In minutes, you're done. Flash deals, zone deals, last minute tickets, views from all your seats, the lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. We don't want that to happen, but if that happens, they've got your back. And they also have your back in another way. They have what's called the Game Time Guarantee. And what this means is that you will get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% the difference. That's right, to put money back in your pocket, essentially. This is a great thing. They give you views from your seats. There's all-in pricing. There's no surprises when you check out. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and the redeem code. Use the code Locked On, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube and become an everydayer. Go and check out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first ever 24/7 streaming channel out there, and you can get it on your Amazon Fire TV. Isn't that awesome? Just go search on the free Fire TV channels app. So Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7 with all the sports you need, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, whatever sports you're into. I'm sure Locked On has an app, has a channel for that. So go and check out Locked On Sports Today and on the Fire TV channels app.
I'm still getting used to it. How long have we been doing the little, transition? I'm still getting used to
I
that.
know. It's fine.
Okay. That's
So
okay.
we all have to get used to change, and sometimes change takes a while. But I know Alex Bregman has been part of the Astros for a while, and he's been part of their 7 straight ALCSs. He's been part of everything that's been good with the Houston Astros, and it would suck for him to not be in the picture. We'll talk about what Dana Brown has to say about that, but with all the other people that have gone, whether it be George Springer, Carlos Correa, Garrett Cole, Dallas Keuchel, you go out, you can name all the people that the Astros have let go. There's always been somebody that's kind of been there in the wings, kind of waiting to take over. And so in this situation, there's not really an heir apparent for for Alex Bregman.
For Will, man, you already got Will Wagner, like with a career with the Astros. Will Wagner, will he be Astros Hall of Famer? I love that. I love that. I love the Freudian slip there.
Yes. So apparently, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the 2 guys that the Astros might be looking at to replace Alex Bregman should he choose to walk, and that is Will Wagner and then Alex DeZenzo. These are 2 different type of players. DeZenzo is a pretty tall fellow, and Will Wagner is a good contact player. He's been kind of groomed as a all-around utility type player, but he is somebody that can move over to third base. So there's a lot of different. I have a lot of quotes from both of them, but Will Wagner has been fast tracked a little bit more. DeZenzo has been I think the highest he's gotten is AA. Will Wagner had a cup of coffee last year in AAA. So who plays third base for the AAA Space Cowboys this year is going to be a big factor in who's going to be playing third base possibly for Houston Astros next year.
Well, here's the thing. Zach DeCenzo, I think did you say Doug?
No.
Oh, I thought you said, okay.
If I did, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So Zach DeCenzo, if you look at his numbers in 2023 with 18 home runs, his power really is where he wows the box score. I've heard good things about his defense, and I think that last year he really turned some heads. Dude, I can't wait to see the day. Now, I'm not saying I'm wanting to rush our current Astros out, but if DeCenzo, Melton, and Loperfido all hit, like they all hit as good major league players or above average major league players, that's a tandem that will have played together. And Melton is on the rise. He's really favorited, but focusing on DeCenzo and Wagner, there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of excitement about what he brings at his position. Not only his speed, his glove. I mean, he's got all the tools. And if you are going to eventually see Alex Bregman walk, then you do want someone behind him. Now, if Alex Bregman stays and you don't have someone like a Mauricio Dubon stay, maybe Will Wagner, I don't know how many other positions he would play, but one of these guys could fall into more of a utility role or platoon role to where you kind of give Bregman a rest here and there. But look, I'm more convinced that Bregman's going to stay than go because of signing Hader. And look, if they do something like sign Snell for like a year, why wouldn't they find a way to keep Bregman and Altuve together? Those two guys, I think, need to end their career together.
Right.
If they don't, you've got Will Wagner and DeCenzo, and if you're not going to use them, they're excellent trade pieces, and they're still prospects. So prospects are always prospects until they become big leaguers, right?
Yeah. So DeCenzo played a lot of shortstop, and a rival scout said that shortstops typically can make the transition over to third base. He does have the range, but the scout wondered if he would be anything more than a corner platoon bat in his future. So DeCenzo has got to prove that he can do it at the AAA level, and Will Wagner has to do it as well. So Wagner feels more comfortable at second base, but there's somebody that's pretty much locked up for the next 6 years there. So I don't think you're going to be playing second base. So third base is going to be a good spot for Will Wagner if he's going to make his rise.
Maybe Altuve does a reverse Biggio and becomes a catcher.
No. no, that's not a big enough strike zone there.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be so
not
awesome.
A big enough target.
They're like, I couldn't wait to see that baseball card. Like I was just thinking about that. Like, and that's the thing. Whenever you talk about Biggio and Altuve, not to get totally off base, but like Biggio played like 3 different positions. Biggio played all over the place, and so yeah, I miss that guy, man. Hey,
played center field too.
That's right. So, hey, get this. So, Eric, I got some things coming to me in the mail, some Astros collectibles, and I got a couple extra of certain players I think you might like. So when I get them, I'll make sure I bring them to you. I think you'll like what I got, man.
Okay, that sounds cool. So just kind of close out the conversation. I think that both of these guys are top prospects. Both of these, I think DeCenzo is number 3, and I think Wagner is number 4 on the top list according to Keith Law. So these guys are both future stars for the Houston Astros. They prototype as the type of players that have had success with the Astros. So I think that we'll see some good things from them, but I think they're still both a little raw to basically say we can let Alex Bregman go. So that brings us into our next conversation we're going to have in a second about what did Dana Brown say. But he also talked about his relationship with Dusty Baker, and he made a comment. And stick around, guys. You are going to love this comment he made. And it's like we know exactly what he meant when he said this comment. So stick around, and we'll talk about this in a second on the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello, everybody. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers like yourself get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Look, get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I don't know if you saw the other day, there was a great highlight. Steph Curry's walking off the court in the tunnel and chunks the basketball all the way across court, full court, and it goes in nothing but net. That's the same thing that happens when you join FanDuel. It's a slam dunk. It is a full court shot Hail Mary that absolutely wins, like FanDuel, 150 bucks in bonus bets when you win with a $5 bet or more. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit fanduel.com/locked on and shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. But go and check out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first ever 24/7 streaming channel out there with all the sports news you need to know right when you need to know it. And it's going to have a MLB channel every day, so go and check it out. It's on Amazon Fire TV. Just check out the free TV app, and you'll see all the news you need to know streaming 24/7 on YouTube.
All right. And just for a correction, we do not have Locked On Rugby. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Somebody was talking about rugby the other day, and I'm like, rugby?
I know. No, I just want to.
It's rugby.
Look, no, I'm just saying, like, I don't know that we have a ton of rugby fans on our show, but y'all, I was editing for our non-commercial. So if you have Amazon Music or whatever, like you can get our shows commercial free. And I thought I heard Eric say, sports like rugby. And I was like, wait, did I hear that right? And I played it back like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like texting Eric, just cracking up. And I'm like, okay, I need to make sure he doesn't think I'm like making fun of him. I was like, wait, is there a Locked On Rugby? And I was like, no, there's not a Locked On Rugby. But you know what? We need to pitch that to David. Maybe there needs to be one because we got the Houston SaberCats here. And I hear they're pretty good.
Right. So let's go and move on to the Dusty Baker article. This was in the MLB. And so this was basically a question and answer. And so the main thing that stood out to me was this is the first year without Dusty Baker as manager. What will we miss about him? And did you get along with him? So it was a very straight up answer. And he said, we got along great. Anytime you have a manager and a GM, you're going to have disagreements. But we had huge respect for each other. I respected Dusty for a long time. I watched him as a kid. I watched him play. I know he's an outstanding baseball man. He has great thoughts, great stories, great ideas. We hit it off well because we are 2 baseball guys. Every now and then, we had to have some tough conversations. Or I may want to make a change with the roster. He may want to hold on to the player. Sometimes we have to meet somewhere in the middle. Ultimately, I felt like we had a good relationship.
So you're saying he was talking about Dubon?
No, not Dubon.
I'm joking. I know. I buried the lead there on purpose. Yeah. So do you think that was about Maldonado and Tanner Diaz?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because what was the first thing that Dana Brown said as soon as he was gone?
Niners are starting catcher.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's okay for the manager and the GM to have disagreements. We saw that James Click traded for Miles Straw, I think, and then or something happened. I think it was that trade, and then Dusty Baker didn't play him or somebody.
Right? Yeah, that was the whole Myers McCormick Straw thing, and like Straw, like they're like, all right, if you're going to keep playing Straw, we're going to ship him off.
Oh yeah, that's what
kind of like in Moneyball, where Bean says, I want this guy at first, or Hatterberg at first, and then they keep playing the rookie Pena, and then they traded him. Like, why'd you just trade the future rookie of the year? Right. And of course that was a little bit more dramatized. And that actual relationship between Art Howe and Billy Bean was inaccurately depicted. Right. They actually did like each other. But anyways, yeah. I mean, Eric, this is a thing.
Yeah. So going on about Justin Verlander, do you have any concerns about Justin Verlander? No concerns about Verlander. He never stopped throwing the whole time. We have to remember he's an older guy, but he knows his body. So he's elated a little bit. I think he's going to be fine. If he was on the shelf, like the elf, no, He didn't say that. And we had to shut him down or something like that, I would be concerned. But he's still throwing bullpens. He's still out there pitching. He's still working on his craft. So I think he's going to be fine.
So you're saying he's an elf on the shelf? Have you heard of
He's,
elf?
no, he's not on the elf on the shelf because
Have you
he's
heard
out
of
there pitching.
JV on? I don't know.
No, don't try to rhyme.
No.
And also about the potential, the deal with the potential free agents and Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker. He said, here's the deal. With Tucker, we have more time. People are making it seem like Tucker is a free agent after the season. He is with us through 2025. And at some point, yes, we will make Tucker an offer. Oops. With Bregman this year, we're going to make him an offer at some point. He has done great things for this organization. We have told him that we're going to make him an offer. I'm trying to get back to it. There it is. We hope that the offer is going to be good enough. But at the end of the day, he has done great things for this organization. He is a pillar, and we like to keep him around. So at the end of the day, Dana Brown is the same as Brett Chancey saying at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, Alex Bregman will be the one that ultimately decides his fate in Houston, not the Houston Astros. I believe the Houston Astros are going to make him a decent, sizable offer. If Alex Bregman and his agent, Scott Boras, believe that he can get a max deal in the last or in the prime of his career, I could see Bregman leaving for a few years and then coming back as a Houston Astro in the last few years, because you could sign him on a reduced contract. If he came in, if he's still hitting well, you could put him as a DH. You could platoon him with a guy. I'm just saying, he's a player that after 5 or 6 years, if he's nearing 37 or 38, he could be a player that comes back, kind of like an Andrew McCutchen type of thing, or, Joey Votto still isn't signed. I don't want to get off on that, but that's weird.
Yeah.
What about Montero? We're talking about, I want to find out about Montero.
Yeah. But before we move on for Bregman is going to be the elite free agent at third base. The other free agent at third bases are going to be just like nobodies, a bunch of no-namers. So he is going to set the market for third base. So speaking of free agents, let's talk about a free agent from last offseason, Rafael Montero, who signed for mucho dinero and then didn't really pitch that well last year. But we have to remember that he did pitch really good in the second half of the season. He kind of rediscovered his form. He had a terrible first half, but they said that Montero looked good in live BP today, and that he was basically, I think Josh Miller used the word dynamite to say what his stuff looked like. So he's been working on stuff. These pitchers realize, Christian Javier, Rafael Montero, they realize when they had a down year, and they go out and they try to fix themselves. And I think that's what Rafael Montero can do.
Well, look, here's the deal with Montero. He has, if you look on his baseball card, every other year, he's decent. He had his best year, obviously, a couple years ago. But he is an every other year guy. Stanek still hasn't signed with anybody. There are guys out there, a lot of relievers, and you've got 3 spots that may open up. So I don't think that it's that far-fetched to think that the Astros will find somebody else or a former Astro to come back if they can get him on a decent deal. I mean, why wouldn't you? And so I think we've got options in the bullpen. I think we got enough options too in AAA that would be viable options. Mashinsky, guys like that. Martinez, we kind of forget about him. When he's good, he's good. You mentioned Belak, Ronel Blanco, Sean Dubin. I mean, we've got a plethora of talent. Forrest Whitley, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be in that bullpen. Yeah. I'm praying that he stays healthy. I really want this year to work out for Forrest Whitley.
Yeah, I know Chris is asking about if we bring back Stanek. I don't know. How much would you pay him? I just don't think the Astros are in the market for another reliever. Their bullpen, especially if Rafael Montero is clicking, they don't really need another arm. So, but just kind of touching on the Blake Snell, I know we kind of already talked about this, But John Heyman said that he's open to a short-term deal with opt-out options just to play short-term, just to show, I mean, not necessarily prove it, but just to get on a team. And so this could be very interesting for playoff contenders like the Houston Astros, the Yankees. I know the Yankees, Juan Soto is trying to get his former teammate to go over there. We have Josh Hader. Maybe Josh Hader can put in a phone call to bring him over there as well. So there's, I don't know if Blake Snell is exactly what we need, but it would be nice to have him.
He does walk a lot of batters. I don't like that about him, but he is coming off the Cy Young year. I think in this rotation with this team, I think he would be fine. I think even if he walks a lot of guys, you've got a bullpen and auxiliary arms that I think would absolutely do it well. I just letting Jay know, he said Anoli. I believe Anoli is playing for the Pirates right now.
Yeah, he's no longer with the Astros. Yes,
no longer with the Astros. So, Jew says, Jew Viol Gray says, if we weren't still paying Greinke $12.5 million for the next 2 years, I would love to add another arm.
Well, true. Sometimes that's how it goes.
Hey, at least we're not paying $780 million.
Yeah. So, guys, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you can subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast and go and rock and roll with Brett Chancey over there. I'm Eric Huysman, and you can go and subscribe to us, and we will see you tomorrow. And go Astros.
I couldn't resist. Rock on, yeah.